Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. First, let me know if you like Ethan Souza's new theme song he wrote for us. He's a fan, he was really into it, he created this new beat for us. So give us a hint in the comments of whether or not you like it. Also, welcome to our first in a series of breakdowns of what the NBA teams are doing on offense. This one up is the Warriors and what they're doing with Mark Jackson's new system. I like a lot of it with the high post, getting great shots with David Lee and Curry and Ellis. However, they weren't unable to sustain it in the fourth quarter, and that posed problems against a really good Memphis Grizzlies team. Here is the Warriors' best play, where they're supposed to get a weak side screen from Lee for Jarrell Wright. He doesn't do it right, but even still, Lee will flash up to the high post. You'll see Curry screen away from Monta Ellis, who's going to come around in a pinch post kind of a cut. While everyone watches Monta, watch Biedrins set a weak side screen that gets a skip pass wide open for a Curry jumper. Beautiful. Same exact play, only this time when Curry screens from Monta Ellis, he comes around on that pinch post cut and hits a wide open jumper. Again, beautiful. They flip it and have Monta Ellis run the point on the same exact play, and watch how Curry gets a little too cute for himself and cuts backdoor instead of taking that screen. The skip pass now goes to Wright, but the Memphis Grizzlies are in position to get that steal and they get a run out. Out of a timeout, almost the same play again, shuffle cut by Wright on the weak side, and then Lee will flash up to the high post. This time, he goes right by his man for a foul. Textbook fast break, David Lee runs the lane line, and the other two shooters, Wright and Ellis, run to the three-point line. In this delayed fast break situation, they're not going to run offense, they're going to spread the floor and try and get penetration. Monta Ellis gets the ball on top, gets deep in the lane and dumps it off to Jarrell Wright for a dunk. They'll run a staggered screen for Ellis coming around to the right side, but that allows David Lee to get the ball in the high post, which triggers a Jarrell Wright back door. Unfortunately, Lee misses that, but it does let him isolate on the high post where he gets a good shot but an awful miss. Here's an ill-conceived set where they'll have a pinch post cut when you have two players moving in the same path around the court, and then they'll have Ellis cut to the basket where there's no opening because two players were just down there. They end up trying to isolate Biedrins in the post, and it's a turnover. And no NBA offense is complete without flex. There you'll see Ellis cross screen and then get a down screen, which ultimately gets him a wide open layup. They'll also do a double ball screen, and here they do it for Wright in the delayed fast break, which is a mistake because it's not his game. He jumps in the air to make a pass, first mistake, and second knocks the guy over for a charge and a turnover. They like to run staggered screens from Monta Ellis to get him open on the right side of the floor. Watch how bad this pass is by Curry. A definite theme here. The whole offense gets disrupted. They throw a really risky skip pass again without a proper screen, but Wright gets into the lane and pulls up for a jumper. And last but not least, the Warriors have their package of isolations. Here they're going to get Monta Ellis in the post against O.J. Mayo. I'm not a real big fan because everyone else is just standing around, but when you got a player as good as Ellis, you got to let him go sometimes. They try and isolate David Lee in the post because they feel like they have an advantage. When he doesn't get a shot off, watch how quickly that ball moves around the perimeter. This is beautiful basketball and almost always guarantees you a great shot. Here, Nate Robinson hits a tough three, but good movement nonetheless. Don't forget what I showed you and what worked so well in the first half. Here we are in the fourth quarter, and they run a single double for Klay Thompson. Two screens on one side and one screen on the other. He takes the double screen, comes up, and then he'll hit Udoh in the post, cut off of him. This is all very nice stuff, and then Udoh faces up and hits a little jumper. Up 18 in the fourth, you want to run a little clock here, but they're not geared for that, and they're always looking to jack up a three. Look at that layup they miss as a pass there, and Klay Thompson misses the three, and that leads to a run out and a foul and two free throws. The Warriors opt to run a sideline screen and roll with Nate Robinson on the left side of the court, which is weird because it makes him go to his weak hand. Udoh does not roll. He ain't going to shoot a three-pointer out there. And of course, Robinson loses the ball and they get a layup. With 16 seconds to go out of bounds play, they opt to screen down for Steph Curry. Takes way too long to get into it. Rush takes a horrible angle to screen. Curry doesn't set his man up first and he cannot get open. Now they're left only to screen and roll for Nate Robinson again, and when the roll man comes off, all he has left with the clock running down is a jumper that doesn't even hit anything. I think there's a rule in the NBA that if you shoot an air ball, you're supposed to blow in your hands like they're cold. Up by 12 with David Lee back in there. Are they going to run their high post set? No, they do screen and roll, and Steph Curry takes the worst shot in basketball with his feet on the three-point line. Either get closer or get behind that line. Curry decides he's going to be really aggressive in the fourth quarter, not looking to get people set up too much in the offense. They screen and roll for him again, and watch Klay Thompson cut back door. That forces O.J. Mayo to step over and help out, and that opens it up for Monta Ellis. Again, a bad pass by Curry that gets tipped, but Ellis still hits the shot. This is where Marc Jackson needed to take control here, but instead, all they keep running are screen and rolls on top. They can't get the ball to Ellis until it's late in the shot clock, and watch how two guys are standing next to each other in the corner. Spacing is awful. They end up getting a good shot anyway, despite themselves. Another screen and roll to Monte's left is offhand, even though he's good with his left hand. He jumps in the air and fires a baseball pass that no one would be able to handle. They set a pin down screen with Lee with the express purpose of getting Lee the ball in the post. Spates does a good job taking it away, and that leaves Rush to freelance and take off way too early to try and dunk. Same exact play, but this time they try and screen down for Monta Ellis. Watch how the pass is a little bit off and Ellis lets it go out of bounds. Same play again, and the defense is completely tuned in to how to stop it. Ellis can't get open on the wing. Curry dribbles it over, can't get the post, so they're stuck on a really weak pick and roll, and they go into the teeth of the defense and miss. Reeling and only up by 9 now, Steph Curry does something that really isn't his game, trying to go to the basket and score. So finally, the Warriors run the same pin down play and actually get the ball to David Lee in the post. As Ellis comes around from a down screen, Tony Allen sits down on the floor and lets him shoot a jumper. I'm not sure if Marc Jackson's aware they ran this play so many times in a row down the stretch, but here they get the ball to David Lee in the post, who does score on a ridiculously difficult shot. Perhaps Curry is tired, but he doesn't dribble the ball over to the wing and tries to throw a pass to Lee on a really bad angle. It gets stolen and Curry is forced to foul. They isolate Ellis in the post again. They did have some success in the beginning of the game, but instead here with the pressure on, he turns the ball over, and here comes Memphis. Remember all that good ball movement and weak side screens? Well, here they get back into pick and roll again, where you have 3 guys just standing around the perimeter. They do a nice job defending the pick and roll, so here comes David Lee, says, I guess I'll set it again. And they get a really long, tough jumper that gets an improbable bounce. Reeling, with their lead almost gone, they call for another pick and roll for Curry going to his left. They rescreen again, and remember I showed you Thompson cutting backdoor? Same thing here, but they don't bite on the weak side, and that leaves a steal when Curry jumps in the air foolishly and throws the ball away and gives them an open shot at the basket. Out of the timeout, they finally, hallelujah, remember to run that high post set with the weak side screen by Lee, who comes up to the high post. It took him, I can't believe, this long to do it. And look what happens. There's Lee in the high post, and they jump in to try and take it away, and it's a foul. Good. But do they run it again? No, they do a screen and roll for Monta Ellis out on top, who throws a really risky skip pass, and that forces Brandon Rush to basically turn the ball over with a horrible pass. Here comes Memphis Grizzlies running back down the floor, and they get another layup. And here's an indictment on Marc Jackson because they're not organized. It looks like they're going to try and do a screen and roll on top, but look at this awful shot by Curry. Doesn't even finish his follow through. But yay, they get a rebound and they can reset, call timeout, run something better, and instead right back to pick and roll, just about turn it over there. And a three-pointer when you're down by 1. But look at that, they get another rebound, no timeout, no organization, and they isolate. And guess what kind of a shot they're going to get down by 1? Yeah, a three-pointer, which doesn't even come close. We know refs will swallow their whistles at the final possession, and I would recommend trying to get an open three-pointer instead of jumping into the guy because you're never going to get that call normally. So there are a lot of promising things happening in Golden State. I like how Brandon Rush is fitting in, and I certainly like how they run the high post sets and use David Lee, Monta Ellis, and Steph Curry to get them good open shots. It takes a certain degree of mental toughness on everyone's part to be able to execute that in the fourth quarter of a tough game against a good team, and that's what happened last night. They really kind of fell apart, and I think Marc Jackson is part of the problem on that one because he kept calling, or somebody kept calling, screen and roll on top. And against a really good defensive team, it ain't going to cut it. You need to have something more clever. to get one more good shot. That's all they needed in a close game like that. Well, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned tomorrow night. Looks like Lakers-Clippers is leading as far as what we're going to break down for Thursday. And on Sunday, we're going to do live tweeting during the Heat-Bulls game and a live chat immediately after. We had a bunch of people come last time, and it was a real good fun, a lot of great questions, and a great conversation. So don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, it's not a channel, it's a conversation. You in?